Today on Studio One, many people like pets for companions. You can choose to buy an animal or take in an abandoned one. We'll look at the difference between breeders and the Humane Society. Also, the art of bookbinding has changed with the times. We'll tag along as a bookbinder shows us the process of making a magazine. And Helen Hunt is starring in the new movie, Pay It Forward. We'll tell you how she prepared for her role.
From the University of North Dakota with Monty Cashel and Rachel Glock, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One.
Yep, thank you for joining us today.
As you may have noticed already, the lovely Beth Martin is here today because Monty's feeling a little under the weather. He has a bad cold and he's not here. So maybe he's possessed or something. We need to perform an exorcism on him. I don't know. With Halloween coming up, there is a re-release of the Exorcist movie that was originally came out in 1973. And there's also this television documentary called Possessed that's being put out. And researchers are finding that with these movies coming out, they're putting a lot of suggestion and vivid depictions in people's heads because of these exorcisms being performed. And it's leading people to start thinking that maybe, we need to perform more of these. So with the, occurrence of more and more of these movies and books being put out about these types of things, there's becoming like a mini epidemic of people requesting exorcisms. Kind of weird around Halloween time.
That is kind of spooky.
So. Yeah, but well, let's get on with the show. Family portraits capture a special moment in time. Our first guest is going to give us some tips on how to make your next family photo a good one.
And pregnant women need to be aware of the dangers of alcohol to their unborn child. An expert on fetal alcohol syndrome will tell us about the illness.
But first, let's go to news with Joanna Storty.
Thank you, Beth and Rachel. A recovery mission is underway at the bottom of the Barents Sea. Divers are working to retrieve the bodies of sailors who were killed when an explosion caused the submarine Kursk to sink. Officials say they've uncovered evidence that shows some sailors survived the initial blast. A letter found on the lieutenant's body said 23 people survived the explosion and could not escape the submarine due to the accident. Evidence shows the men may have struggled for hours as the submarine slowly filled with water. They were trapped and waited for a rescue that never came.
The note says that maybe 2-3 people will try to emerge from the sunken submarine through the rescue hatch of the 9th compartment. As you know, this attempt failed, perhaps because it was flooded.
In other news, the new CEO of Bridgestone Firestone will face lawyers in court today. He is scheduled to give a deposition in a lawsuit filed by consumers over the recall of 6.5 billion tires. John Lampe is just 3 weeks into his new role as the head of the tire maker's U.S. operations. Since taking over, Lampe reconstructed his management team. He announced layoffs at the troubled Decatur, Illinois plant and temporary shutdowns at 2 others. So far, the recall has cost the company at least $450 million this year. A decrease in funds may result in the elimination of nurses at many elementary schools. The cutbacks are already forcing many kids to turn to administrators who don't have the medical background for more complex needs. Studies show many children require expert on asthma inhalers, blood sugar tests, and prescriptions. One nurse says there is a need for a medical professional on staff for younger children.
I think it's very important in the elementary school. More important, I think, there than any other place, just because there's more increase of medication that has to be administered, and again, more accidents.
Holmdahl also says that parents are more receptive to a nurse when providing medical background needed for the child's immunizations. She also says with a nurse on staff, it will prevent any serious problems that a teacher is not trained to handle. The Sony Corporation has let its new robotic pet out of the kennel. Complete with waggling ears, RoboDog is equipped with an internal computer that can recognize up to 50 words and imitate human speech. This new version of a man's best friend is a souped-up successor to its original IboDog. RoboDog has an array of new features that enables it to experience intimate interaction with humans. The metallic canines will be unleashed for a fee of $1,500. Despite the steep price, the first Ibos sold out in just 20 minutes after going on sale over the internet in 1999. Every year, women are the victims of more than 4.5 million violent crimes, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. A special display is helping to raise people's awareness of the issue. The Clothesline project features specially designed T-shirts that bear witness to the effects of violence in our society.
Each shirt in the Clothesline project represents an adult or child's experience with violence and is decorated by the survivor, a family member, or friend. This year, the University of North Dakota held its 6th annual display of the Clothesline project. The director of the Women's Center in Grand Forks, North Dakota, Kay Mendick, says that people react differently when they see the t-shirts. Some are overcome with sadness, while others find strength through those who decorated the shirts. Visitors are not only affected by what they see, but also by what they hear. The gong that goes off every 10 to 12 seconds represents another woman who is battered. The whistle that blows once every minute represents reported rape. And the bell that tolls every 10 to 12 minutes represents a death due to intimate personal violence.
Nobody, I don't think anybody realizes that it happens so often until you see all these and you hear the gongs and the noises.
North Dakota is not the only state that displays a clothesline. States throughout the U.S. and other countries also participate in the project. An estimated 200,000 to 400,000 shirts have been decorated all over the world.
Some communities are much more aware of the extent to which violence is a part of the problems they're dealing with, and then other communities are less aware.
Mendick says hanging clothes on the line was a time for women to visit with neighbors and catch up on what was going on. Today, however, it represents much more.
This was a way of bringing those statistics off the paper and more of an in-your-face kind of airing of society's dirty laundry. You know, it takes a lot. I mean, this is coming completely out of people's comfort zone to walk in here and read these stories.
Organizers hope this visual representation will help make the people more aware of the violence problem in society. Reporting for Studio One, this is Jen Soderquist.
Mendick says victim is the term used for those who died because of violence, while survivors is used for the others who have truly survived acts of violence. And that is news for now. Beth and Rachel.
Thanks, Joanna.
Thanks.
You know, it's really too bad that these t-shirts and things that were in that story have to be associated with something so sad. And I think of t-shirts as being, you know, warm and out in the sunshine and warm weather and stuff.
Unfortunately, it's not too warm out right now, but let's check out what the temperature really is right now with Carrie Schatz at the Regional Weather Informational Center.
Well,
Carrie?
Beth and Rachel, it definitely isn't t-shirt weather out there right now. We've seen quite a bit of rain, almost an inch in the past couple of days, and cooler conditions throughout the Grand Forks and regional area. Let's take a look at those current conditions right now, though. We have a temperature of 45, a dew point of 44, winds out of the north at 20 with gusts up to 28 miles an hour and a pressure of 29.81. We're also seeing quite a bit of fog and cloudy conditions. Looking at the regional temperatures in Celsius and Fahrenheit, we can see the cold spot right now is up in Winnipeg at 43, and the warm spot is down to our east at 71 in Cedar Rapids. You can see quite a contrast as you go from north to south. And basically, right, a nice little blocking right here, where Fargo right now is at 49, Sioux Falls at 67, Bismarck is 47, Rapid City is at 60. Quite a contrast you can see that's being associated with this cold front that's passing through the area right now. We've also seen quite a bit of precipitation associated with it too. As we look more into the national view, we can see a couple of other hot spots where they're seeing quite a bit of rain, especially down in California where they've had some airport delays earlier today associated with some fog. As we look into Friday morning, things should be getting a little bit better. We should see a drying out of the weather, and especially down to the south too. Friday morning, not much of a change. They might see partly cloudy skies and should be drier. Friday's highs are looking like this, a little bit cooler than we've seen the past few days. 30s up to the north, 40s throughout much of our area, and even some 50s down to the south. Friday's lows, 30s throughout much of there, including Duluth, Grand Forks, and Winnipeg. 40s down to the south, and even some 20s possible up into the north. Saturday's highs, 50s throughout much of the area, even some 40s out through the Arrowhead region of Minnesota. And Saturday's lows are shaping up like this, 30s throughout much of the area, and even some 20s up to the north. So if you're out on the internet, please log on to our homepage at rwic.und.edu. So Beth and Rachel, things aren't looking that great right now, especially with all the rain that we've seen the past couple of days. But I'll take a look into the weekend later on the show.
Thanks, Carrie. Well, we've been pretty lucky with the nice weather last couple weeks, but I think it's the cool autumn weather is coming back.
Yes, well, with autumn also comes different sports. I know the baseball season is wrapping up with the Mets and Yankees in their Subway Series. So let's go to the sports desk with Nina Jacobson.
Thank you, Rachel and Beth. The New York Yankees won 3-2 over the Mets Wednesday night. This puts the Yankees in the lead 3-1 over the Mets in the Subway Series. Of the 40 teams to take a 3-1 lead in the World Series, 34 have gone to win the championship. Derek Jeter started off with a bang. He hit the first pitch of the game over the left field fence for a home run. This was the first home run and the opening pitch of a World Series game since Pete Rose did it for Cincinnati in 1972. Mike Piazza hit a 2-run homer in the third inning, but it was not enough to overcome the Yankees.
Been down before, and obviously this is a tough position, but we just want to come out and play a good game. We want to come out and show the pride we've shown the whole year and just come out and play them tough.
If the Yankees win the next game, they will be the first team to win 3 titles in a row since the Oakland Athletics did it from 1972 to 74. Skateboarders can be found almost everywhere, on the sidewalks, in parking lots, or in skateboard parks. But there's a lot more to the sports than just performing fancy tricks.
Skateboarding is a tough sport to master, and some who do it say it is one of the hardest sports there is. It can take a lot of practice to become a talented skateboarder, and some say the most important trick to learn as a beginner is how to ollie. Skateboarders say this is a basic trick, one that skateboarders should learn before they try others.
There's a lot of different tricks. There's like heel flip, a kick flip, there's like grinds, like the 5-0 grind, nose grind, like a tail grind and everything like that.
Whitmore says good balance and coordination can help skaters become skilled. Skateboarding is a growing sport among young people, but there are many stereotypes about the sport. One being that many of the kids who do it are troublemakers.
Maybe because it's different. I guess a lot of people, anything that's different these days, they either think it's bad or they don't really give it a chance to, work itself. You can think what you think, but we're having fun here. We have fun every single day.
Another stereotype about skateboarders is that they have unique tastes in dress and music. Skateboarders say there is a reason for that.
Yeah, we do dress differently. It's kind of an art or style.
It helps us get psyched for it. Like a really upbeat song will really make you want to go for it.
Skateboarding is not only a growing sport, but also a growing business. There are several companies that make skateboard clothing, shoes, videos, and boards. One famous skateboard brand, Santa Cruz, has been around since the 70s and has provided skateboarders with equipment. Reporting for Studio One Sports, I am Harald Svarstad.
One of the most famous skateboarders of all time, Tony Hawk, took the sport to the next level with his performances. He made skateboarding a mainstream sport and brought it into the pop culture. And now time for Studio One Sports Trivia question, and the question of the week is, what NHL team was the first to win 60 games in a season? Was it A, Canadiens, B, Oilers, C, Islanders, or D, Red Wings? And the right answer is A, Canadiens. And that was sports for today. Back with Beth and Rachel.
All right, thanks, Nina. Thanks. Well, one man who grew up in a small town made the town even smaller. He created a scaled-down version complete with a school and the house he grew up in. We'll take a look inside the house.
But first, some photography studios have a unique way of placing attention on people's faces. Next, we'll give you some secrets to make your next family portrait the best yet. Stay with us.
Are you a parent looking for childcare? Do you know what good childcare looks like? Do you provide childcare and have questions? Does childcare affect your business? Do you have employees who are concerned about childcare? Doesn't every child deserve quality childcare? Any questions? Call Child Care Resource and Referral.
Your future is waiting at the University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration. The technology you need to succeed is available. Education is enhanced through computer labs and interactive video network studios. Students experience real-life situations by being consultants to small businesses. Our students bring innovation and creativity to help clients overcome business challenges. Build your future at UND's College of Business and Public Administration. Phone 1-800-CALL UND.
Wild. Wild and free. At Community National Bank, you'll find a brand of financial service that's a cut above the rest. We all know about the hectic pace everyday life can take on. We're working hard to make your hectic pace just a little more enjoyable.
Quality products and friendly professional service. We're anything but average.
Community National Bank. We care about you.
It's Columbia Mall, the area's largest shopping center with more than 75 specialty shops and restaurants, plus Dayton's, Target, JCPenney's, and Sears. You'll find everything you need at Columbia Mall, from shoes to fashions, pianos to jewelry. Make Columbia Mall your ultimate shopping experience, and remember, Columbia Mall gift certificates make perfect gifts. Columbia Mall for food, fun, and more, serving the Red River Valley for more than 22 years.
You're watching Studio One, twice named the best college television show in the nation by the National Association of College Broadcasters.
Family portraits are captured moments of time and age. The camera clicks, the lights flash, and a special snapshot is taken. Professional photographer Joey Royland is here to give some tips on how to make your next family picture worth putting out for all to see. Thanks for joining us today, Joey.
You're welcome.
Well, what made you get started in photography?
My father was a photographer, and I went to work for him when I had 2 small babies, and it was convenient because I could bring my babies to work with me because the studio was in the back of my parents' home.
Oh, okay. How convenient.
And, yes,
you said.
And then when he offered to send me to school for photography, I thought that sounded really wonderful.
Okay.
And it was, and that's when I really discovered that I really did enjoy photography.
Well, that's great because you're very good at it. Now, I know there's many different kinds of photography. You know, there's photography for weddings and for families and things. Are you an all-occasion photographer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I do everything. Weddings, families, babies, children, pets, a lot of animals, graduates this time of year. Just about everything. A little commercial. I don't do a lot of commercial.
Okay. What do you tell a first-time family when they come in and want to sit down and take a nice portrait?
Well, I think the most important thing is clothing. You know, we talk about the clothing. And also, if the children are small, then we talk about, well, what time of day is the best time, you know, for them? When are they the happiest? So that we can get good pictures.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I happened to grab a couple family members of mine along with these pictures that are coming up. And you told us to bring a couple different kinds of clothing. Can you tell us a little bit about these pictures?
Okay, this is the type of clothing that I see a lot of. In spite of telling all my families that the most ideal thing to wear is the same color. And that's hard. I know that's hard. But that's what's going to give you the nicest picture. And you see what a difference it makes. It's nice if you come in with the same color or at least coordinating colors. I really suggest no more than 2. One is the best. But if you're clashing and have prints and stripes and flowers and all this, it really is distracting. It takes the eye away from the face. We don't want the clothing to take away from the face. We want the clothing to just bring the eye to the face.
Okay. Well, you're talking about, you know, putting focus on certain things. What about props, like animals and things like that? What do you think of those?
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I love it when families bring in animals or props, or better yet, when they call me and say, I just had a family just a few weeks ago that said, would you mind coming out and doing pictures in our hayloft? And I said, sure, that'd be wonderful. So I went out to the hayloft and I climbed up in the hayloft with my lights, with my cameras. They helped me carry all this stuff up. We set lights up and we got great pictures in the hayloft. And I really think that's important because then you're capturing the real family. You're capturing, you know, their interests, what things they love, their personality. So if the family's really into snowmobiling, have your picture taken with your snowmobile. You know, if you're really into, I've had a lot of with vehicles, cars and that kind of thing. I did a bride on a tractor, so I guess we can do families on tractors.
What can't you do?
Anything. Animals, absolutely. They're a part of the family. They really should be in the picture. You know, so I encourage them to do that, and I'm always willing to go. A lot of people like to have pictures in their homes. That's wonderful because that tells the story of the family.
Right. Do you think families can take pictures too often, or how often is too often?
I don't think there is such a thing as too often, but most families don't take them often enough. And because it's hard. It's very hard to gather up your family and have all at one time and have everybody, you know, in a good mood at the same time sometimes is very difficult, and there's a lot of men that are not real interested in having their pictures taken.
Now, you talked a little bit about keeping people in the mood, and earlier on you talked about children and the time of day. What about children? You know, how easy is it to work with children, and what do you do to keep them calm and sitting still?
Oh, that can be interesting. Sometimes I'd like to use glue. No. Some children are wonderful, you know, with just a breeze, and then others are very interesting, very trying. I have a lot of patience. I probably have way more patience than the parents do. So I usually, you know, try and tell the parents, don't worry about the child, let me work with the child, and let me be the one, you know, that's trying to get their attention. And I'll make a fool of myself, anything to get them to get their attention, get them to smile. My husband says, I couldn't do that. I couldn't make a fool of myself the way you do. And I said, well, it works. So.
Anything to make the child happy.
Anything to make them happy.
Well, what about like packages and things like that? When people come and take their pictures, then you give them the photos back and let them look at it, and then there's the packages that they can look at. Right. Is that the most economical route?
Packages are the most economical way of doing it, yeah.
How come?
I do offer a la carte pricing for those families that, you know, just absolutely cannot fit their needs into a package, and that's fine. My package is pretty flexible too, though. But it is more economical because it's more economical for me from the lab to order from one negative versus 3 or 4 negatives and ordering all different sizes.
Okay, real quickly, there's some new trends I know that are coming up in photography. What are some of them that families are doing?
Lately, a lot of black and white, a lot of sepia. And so that's been kind of a fun thing that we've been doing. There's a sepia, I guess, on the monitor right now.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us today, Joey, and telling us your great tips. I think families will take them into consideration.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Helen Hunt struggles to be a good mother in her newest movie, Pay It Forward. We'll see how she prepared for her role. But first, we'll see how machines make a large impact on binding magazines. The process is much faster than by hand. We'll spend a day in the life of a bookbinder technician. Stay with us.
The University of North Dakota's Division of Continuing Education can help you learn throughout your lifetime. Begin or continue your education through correspondence study, extended degree programs, and extension courses. For your personal or professional growth, we offer conferences as well as courses in dietary management and real estate.
We invite you to contact us at the Division of Continuing Education to discuss your learning opportunities.
Call us or look us up on the World Wide Web.
The University of North Dakota has a rich history of retaining and graduating American Indian students. UND offers 26 American Indian programs, more than any other higher education institution in the U.S. The support services provided by Native American programs enhance student success. Native American programs offer tutoring, academic advising, and financial aid assistance, which makes UND a leader in Indian education. For more information, call 1-800-CALL-UND.
The classes they're great, professors are wonderful. Everything about this university is high quality.
The best thing about UND is that there's so many ways to get involved in the university community, so it really makes it a nice place to be.
Campus is very beautiful. The friendly professors and staff, it really does become a close-knit community.
UND is more than just the college itself. I mean, you learn more than just an education here. They provide so many experiences and opportunities for you that's just incredible.
Bookbinding is an ancient art which was almost done exclusively by hand. Today, bookbinding is driven by machinery and includes the creation of magazines. We spent a day in the life of a bookbinder technician.
The process of making a magazine has many stages. Designers make the magazine's layout on computers. This is then printed out on negatives. The negatives are exposed on aluminum plates. These plates are then used in the printing process. When this process is done, the bookbinding process can begin. Carla Rubb is a bookbinding technician. She has worked in the binding industry for 23 years. She had a friend that decided to go and check out a graphic art class, and she went with him. She liked what she saw, took the class, and has been working in this industry ever since. Bookbinding has changed through the years, and Carla has to keep up with each new development.
Yeah, it was a lot different. I mean, the equipment is more advanced now than it was back then, a lot more.
Her job is to control the machine and make sure the binding process goes without problems. The process of bookbinding takes folded sheets of paper and puts them in different sections.
After the paper is folded into sections, the machine collates it, stitches it, trims it, and it's pretty much a finished product when it comes off the conveyor belt.
The bookbinder machine can make 4,000 to 5,000 magazines an hour. Sometimes the company has gotten orders of as much as 30,000 books. In times like this, it's good for a bookbinder to use a machine that works faster than human hands. With photographer Marion Eriksson, I'm Helena Tiedemann reporting for Studio One.
Bookbinding is still an art that can be done by hand. Book cover restoration is also a big business. Helen Hunt has thrown herself into yet another role. She calls the character she plays in Pay It Forward a raw nerve. She says the role is as far away from any she's ever played. Hunt is an actress who relishes her homework. Accepting this role was a welcome challenge for her. Hunt exposed a little more of herself than fans are used to. Her character, a recovering alcoholic, is a cocktail waitress at a strip club. She struggles to be the right mother for her son, played by Haley Joe Osment.
You know, I only know how to run at a part from every angle. I don't really have a way. So I hung out in Vegas and talked to mothers and strippers and waitresses.
Hunt is currently developing several scripts, including one about a woman who would rather kill men than break up with them. You might not want to be around when she does her homework for that one. Now, time to look at the events happening in your area.
Well, it's election year, and the presidential elections are quickly approaching. The candidates have told us through their campaign slogans, ads, and debates which issues are important to them. We wanted your thoughts on what issues are important to you.
I think that education is definitely one of the most important ones, being a college student especially.
I would like to see the presidential candidates address the issues that they're not familiar with, that they don't have a grasp upon.
Social Security, you know. I mean, I don't think they should abolish that, and it looks like that's the way they're going.
The most important issue the presidential candidates should be concerned about as far as North Dakota is concerned is the farm prices, because the farmers are getting less for their crops each year.
They're both addressing the issue of the budget surplus and tax cuts and what to do with the surplus.
Gun issues as far as I guess that's real important as to where they stand.
There are many small railroad towns in the Midwest that have been forgotten by most. One man has taken it upon himself to restore the memories of his childhood by rebuilding it. Conway, North Dakota is a small town which just got even smaller.
Lawrence Umdahl has a passion and hobby different than most others. He has spent the 2 last winters working on scale models of his childhood town. He started out by making the house that he grew up in. Umdahl has added the school, church hall, and the railroad depot. He has also crafted the already abandoned jail, which served as a clubhouse for the young boys of Conway. Umdahl says the details are important.
And the depot, I even put the Sioux Line emblem on it and the name of the town on it, because all the depots had that on them. So all the little things make it more realistic.
Umdahl says the church hall is the building that stands out in his mind. It was used for school performances and dances. The building was a big part of Conway's social life.
These guys who went to the dances, you know, a lot of them were drinkers. They'd throw their empty beer bottles and pop bottles on the ground. And in the mornings, we get up real early, go find the bottles, and take them back to the grocery store and get a refund of a nickel.
The grocery store is Umdahl's next project. He makes his models to a scale of 1/4 inch to each foot. A lot of consideration also goes into the colors. Omdahl says he will keep on rebuilding the town of his youth.
I suppose I look back at my childhood because I was very much attached to the village of Conway. And to me, I thought that these would make nice memory pieces to do. So my heart and soul was right in the work I was doing.
Reporting for Studio One, I am Marion Eriksen.
Omdahl says he's been thinking about putting lights and music in the hall. He says that would create the illusion of people dancing and having fun. Well, coming up later in the show, we'll talk with an expert on fetal alcohol syndrome. We'll tell you how to prevent this illness to your child and what is being done with the current cases of FAS. Plus, some people breed pets while others try to deal with the ones without a home. We'll tell you about the problem of animal population. Overpopulation, that story, plus more news and the updated weather forecast in the next half hour on Studio One.
Future a bit cloudy? Get a brighter picture at UND Aerospace and the University of North Dakota. World-class training programs endorsed by major airlines, an extraordinary fleet of aircraft, and learning facilities second to none make UND Aerospace the largest collegiate aviation program in North America. Begin your future in the aviation industry. Explore programs in space studies or computer science. Soar into the atmospheric sciences. It's all here at UND Aerospace. What's in your future? UND Aerospace, clearly the leader in aviation education.
The School of Law at the University of North Dakota. This is a unique place, a place where you can learn with some of the best technology, where you can talk to the faculty in small class settings, a place where student activity groups enhance your education, a place which offers interaction with the court system, an affordable place where you can gain all the skills you need to get a job. Take your place at the University of North Dakota School of Law. Phone 1-800-CALL UND.
School of Engineering Minds we're kind of one close-knit community. Everybody's friendly. You're not just, a name in the crowd or a number.
I've always wanted to do engineering. What we're learning here is just hands-on.
The department has been very good about acquiring the resources we need.
I think that through this project I've gained a lot of the team-working skills, leadership.
A campus that supports a wide range of degrees gives you a nice ability to round out your education in a variety of areas.
Students from any major can build a great future through the entrepreneurship programs in the College of Business and Public Administration at the University of North Dakota.
It lets them meet with business people and spread their wings and do the research to see if their ideas really do work.
Well, this program is for everybody. Business coincides and integrates with any major out there.
Trust yourself. Take action. Discover the entrepreneurship programs at the UND College of Business and Public Administration.
You're watching Studio One. News, weather, sports, and entertainment.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Yep, thanks for tuning in.
Well, before we get into all the details and all the awesome stories we have for you coming up, I have a little story for you, Rachel.
Oh, okay, tell us why.
Well, first of all, tell me what sort of activities did you used to do with your grandparents?
Oh, I don't know. They'd read us stories and things, my brothers and sister and I, and I don't know, I'd go on trips and stuff with them once in a while,
Kind of the good old-fashioned fun,
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely.
Well, Ernestine Williams, a 63-year-old grandmother, actually runs a family pickpocket.
A family pickpocket.
A whole chain of family pickpockets. She has her grandchildren, her children, and she's done it for over 10 years, and she just got caught now. So
I don't have to be worrying anymore about what my grandparents are going to give me. It should be like what they're going to be taking from me.
Exactly. It's kind of scary, huh?
Oh, no kidding. Well, let's get on with the show. Coming up in the next 30 minutes on Studio One, college students often have to get part-time jobs to help pay for school. We'll tell you how others are making money in non-traditional ways.
And many people who bring home puppies are not prepared for taking care of them when they grow up. We'll tell you how this has led to bigger problems.
And 10 to 20% of children are born with mental retardation because of fetal alcohol syndrome. Today's guest will be discussing FAS and its effects on children. But first, let's go to news with Joanna Storty.
Thank you, Beth and Rachel. Clashes between Israelis and Palestinians started again today after a suicide bombing.
A young Palestinian man on a bicycle rode up to an Israeli army post in Gaza and blew himself up. A militant Islamic Jihad group claimed responsibility for the suicide bomber, which killed the Palestinian and wounded another Israeli soldier. Before the explosion, there was a 24-hour period of calmness in what has been a month-long clash between Palestinians and Israeli soldiers. There's been at least 139 people killed in the month-long attacks, most of them Palestinians. Israeli army officials say they were prepared for this latest attack.
The position was ready, it was closed, and they suspect this man. So he decided in his last minutes, his last seconds, to explode himself. He is here, just here.
In other news, 21 people have been killed in the most recent rounds of violence in Indonesia. The fighting is in the latest evidence of growing ethnic and religious tensions in Indonesia. Gangs of Malays are walking the streets, attacking whoever gets in their way. Residents have shut themselves in, fearing for the worst. Last year, thousands were killed in a war that lasted several months and shocked Indonesians with brutal beatings and ritual beheadings. Research now confirms that parents are getting the proper instructions to help prevent sudden infant death syndrome. Specialists at the St. Louis University School of Medicine have completed a 4-year study on SIDS. They found that in more than 60% of the cases, infants were found laying face down. In nearly 30% of the cases, the infants were found with their head or face covered by their own bedding. Many parents also load their infants' cribs up with blankets and stuffed animals, but this can be very dangerous.
I don't think that's a good idea. There's always the worry of a child suffocating themselves. It looks real cute, but it's not a good idea.
Researchers say most of these cases could have been avoided. They say infants should be placed on their backs and have little to no clutter in their cribs. A bus-sized meteorite that blazed to Earth last January carried with it new clues about the origin of life. Estimated to weigh 220 tons, the meteorite smashed into the atmosphere. It shattered and sprayed bits of space rock over a frozen lake in Canada's Yukon Territory. Scientists are studying fragments left over from this blast. They say this matter is virtually unchanged since the solar system formed 4.6 billion years ago. Tests show the pieces are loaded with organic molecules of the type that could have the raw materials for the formation of life on Earth. For many students, attending college is a full-time job. Some need to pay for their schooling and may not have time for a traditional job. For extremely busy students, there are alternatives.
College students have a lot to worry about without having to think about a source of income. Some get part-time jobs to help support their career as a student. For others, this just isn't an option. One alternative is Pracs, which is a research organization that compares name brand medication to test brands. Volunteers are paid to take the generic equivalent of a brand name to see if the results are the same. To check this, the volunteer has blood drawn for it to be analyzed. After that, they are free to study, read, or watch movies. Students can earn $500 to $2,000 per study.
It's easy for college students to do projects here because they can find a project that basically fits their schedule. Versus a part-time job, they don't have much of an opportunity to tell them when they would like to work.
Kyle Naniga participated in a study because it fit in his schedule.
It's not during the week, so all you do is go on the weekends where it's free time anyway. And like I said, you got all the time in the world to do it on the weekends, so it was really convenient for me.
Another alternate source of income for students is giving plasma. Community bioresources pay up to $50 a week for doing this. Blood is pulled from a patient's body, then pumped back in without the plasma. It allows busy students to make a few bucks and they can study during the procedure.
They're in the center about an hour to an hour and a half, and they can donate twice a week. We're pretty flexible with hours, so the students can come in and take advantage of that.
So whether it's testing medication or donating plasma, these unique methods allow students to make money while leading a busy life. With photographer Chris Hovden, I'm Scott Sheldon reporting for Studio One News.
More than half of the people involved with Pracs and community bioresources are college students. And that is news for today. Beth and Rachel.
Thanks, Joanna.
Thanks.
Well, it seems like college students are so busy. We're both college students and very busy, I know. It's too bad that they don't get a chance to get out more and enjoy things outside.
Yep, and especially before the winter season comes.
Exactly.
So, well, let's go check out what the weather's currently doing right now with Carrie Schatz at the Regional Weather Informational Center. Carrie?
Well, Beth and Rachel, the temperatures aren't doing that great, neither is
the conditions outside. We're still seeing some fog and some precipitation in the form of drizzle. Let's take a look at those current conditions right now in Grand Forks. We have a temperature of 44, a dew point of 43. The wind has increased a little bit slightly and is out of the north at 24 gusting to 30 and a pressure of 29.85 inches of mercury and rising. As we look at the jet stream for Saturday, we can see cooler air plunging down to the west and this warmer air to the east, but as you can see, not much of a change as we move from Saturday into Tuesday. This warm air basically subdued and won't get into our area, so we'll see cooler conditions remaining at least through Tuesday. As we look at our Saturday surface analysis, sky conditions are looking pretty good. We might see some clouds, actually even a chance of precipitation associated with the stuff out to our west. As we move in from Saturday to Tuesday, we can see that moving out more towards the east, dropping some precipitation up to the north for places like Manitoba, Winnipeg especially. And even for those ghosts and goblins that'll be walking the streets on Halloween, they might see some rain too, especially with the cloudy skies. Your weekend is shaping up like this. Saturday, a high of 50 under cloudy skies and a low of 32. And for Sunday, a high of 53 and a low of 34 with a chance of rain. So right now the weekend isn't looking that great. Definitely a chance of rain on Sunday and cooler conditions.
Thanks, Carrie. Well, it's cooling off, but I don't know, I can handle it,
Hopefully the weather's okay for those trick-or-treaters
That's right,
for Halloween.
that's right.
Yeah, but, well, there were almost 4 million births last year. An astonishing 40% of them were exposed to alcohol during pregnancy. Our next guest will discuss the effects of fetal alcohol syndrome.
And a dog's behavior is something that has to be dealt with from the puppy stage. If it is ignored, the problem remains even as the dog ages. What many people may not realize is how much of a problem this can be or how to take care of it. That story is next on Studio One.
Let the University of North Dakota become your strategic partner by providing your business, industry, or organization with our workforce development services. Our experts work closely with you to diagnose the workforce development needs of your business and develop practical solutions for your organization. The Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience in strategic planning, workforce surveys, training plan development, and grant writing. Workforce Development, a service of the University of North Dakota. Call 777-2313.
The University of North Dakota has a rich history of retaining and graduating American Indian students. UND offers 26 American Indian programs, more than any other higher education institution in the U.S. The support services provided by Native American programs enhance student success. Native American programs offer tutoring, academic advising, and financial aid assistance, which makes UND a leader in Indian education. For more information, call 1-800-CALL-UND.
What do you want to accomplish? How does the future look? Do you have goals? We have goals. They involve serving students, faculty, the community, and society. Our reputation depends on how well we teach our students. We want to equip you for success. Are you ready to succeed? The University of North Dakota's College of Business and Public Administration is ready to help build your future. Phone 1-800-CALL-UND.
The School of Law at the
Check
University
1, 2, 3,
of North
check 1, 2,
Dakota.
3.
This is a unique place, a place where you can learn with some of the best technology, where you can talk to the faculty in small class settings, a place where student activity groups enhance your education, a place which offers interaction with the court system, an affordable place where you can gain all the skills you need to get a job. Take your place at the University of North Dakota School of Law. Phone 1-800-CALL-UND.
You're watching Studio One. News, weather, sports, and entertainment.
Some people do not know that it takes a lot of hard work and responsibility to take care of a pet. They often end up giving them to shelters. This is where the problem with homeless animals starts.
They may be cute when they are small, but what many people forget is that eventually they grow up.
Sit.
Dean Kolbeckdahl knows firsthand that it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to raise a pet. He breeds Pointer Labradors. His dog Lady just had her second litter, and the puppies are just about ready to be picked up by their new owners. Kolbeckdahl mainly breeds for the love of the Labrador breed. He says it has qualities that are rare to find in other breeds or in mutts.
They're way smarter. They're
more intelligent, easier to train, very easygoing.
Many breeders are mainly doing it for the love of the breed and for financial reasons. There are those, though, who breed for what some veterinarians say is the wrong reason.
People breed dogs because their dog is nice. And I feel that unless a dog is perfect, it shouldn't be bred.
Gigsta says there are breeders who have large amount of litters all the time and the dogs are not necessarily in the best health. He calls them puppy mills.
A puppy mill is a place that in my mind, that produces too many puppies and they're not in good health and they just don't do well.
Dean Colbeck-Dalton is not worried about the health of his dogs. He says he made sure they were in perfect health before he decided to breed them. His puppies also come with a guarantee of perfect health.
If these dogs aren't healthy or something happens to them, you know, that's a health reason, and not anything out of the ordinary by running over. But if it's a health reason, I'd replace their dog or give them their money back.
Since they are so adorable when they are puppies, many people get dogs simply because they are cute. They may not be fully aware of what they are getting themselves into. Also, they may not realize that such puppy behaviors as jumping, biting, and scratching do not go away by themselves. They have to be dealt with from the start, and if they're not, the dogs will not be well behaved when they grow up. The Humane Society takes in large amounts of dogs every year from people who are unable to or don't have the time to train their puppies properly.
That's probably one of the biggest reasons that people surrender their animals, and by surrender I mean they give up their own pets.
In order to avoid puppy training, many people choose to adopt a grown pet. There are also those who realize the problem with too many animals and want to help the homeless ones instead of getting a puppy.
I think a lot of people will adopt a pet from an animal shelter because they are aware of the pet overpopulation problem, and they want to see that those animals get homes before they encourage breeders to produce more animals.
Not all animals at the Humane Society are lucky and get new owners, though. The people who are around these animals have the hard task of dealing with this problem every day. They say the emotional part can be overwhelming.
These are all animals that would give their love unconditionally to anybody. And they don't understand why they're here. They're confused. Some of them are scared, and they just don't understand what's happened. And that's hard, and it's frustrating.
Veterinarians, the Humane Society, and breeders all stress one thing. It is important to know what you are getting yourself into when you decide to get a pet. For Studio One, I'm Rebecca Carlson.
Rebecca joins us more to talk about her story. Now, Rebecca, in your story, you did mention that people often get pets before taking into consideration what kind of hard work it takes. What are some of the things that people need to know?
Well, there are a couple of things that you need to remember. One, you need to have enough time to take care of your pets, especially when they're puppies. You need to have someone be home with them during the day to train them properly, and also you need to have time to take care of them, to daily exercise and just social contact. And also there's the expenses. You need to consider vaccinations, regular exams, high quality food, and that can amount to up to $1,000 a year, and that is excluded emergency medical care, which can be really expensive. And then also, you need to take a look at your lifestyle. If you live on a farm, you know it's okay to get an active pet, but if you live in an apartment, you might want to get a cat or a goldfish.
Something a little bit less active, like you said.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks very much for the great story, Rebecca. It was good.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Fetal alcohol syndrome is a sad illness for many pregnant women. The number of cases in babies is rising. What people need to realize, though, is that it is 100% preventable. Our next guest will discuss FAS and what can be done to prevent it.
The University of North Dakota's Division of Continuing Education can help you learn throughout your lifetime. Begin or continue your education through correspondence study, extended degree programs, and extension courses. For your personal or professional growth, we offer conferences as well as courses in dietary management and real estate.
We invite you to contact us at the Division of Continuing Education to discuss your learning opportunities.
Call us or look us up on the World Wide Web.
School of Engineering Minds we're kind of one close-knit community. Everybody's friendly. You're not just, a name in the crowd or a number.
I've always wanted to do engineering. What we're learning here is just hands-on.
The department has been very good about acquiring the resources we need.
I think that through this project I've gained a lot of the team-working skills, leadership.
A campus that supports a wide range of degrees gives you a nice ability to round out your education in a variety of areas.
I think the quality of education that I have received has been absolutely phenomenal.
I really believe that UND has a lot for a lot of different people.
It's a beautiful campus, it's a wonderful town, and I just really liked everything that UND offered to me.
Future a bit cloudy? Get a brighter picture at UND Aerospace and the University of North Dakota. World-class training programs endorsed by major airlines, an extraordinary fleet of aircraft, and learning facilities second to none make UND Aerospace the largest collegiate aviation program in North America. Begin your future in the aviation industry. Explore programs in space studies or computer science. Soar into the atmospheric sciences. It's all here at UND Aerospace. What's in your future? UND Aerospace, clearly the leader in aviation education.
Fetal alcohol syndrome was first discovered in the 1960s. This illness has grown in mothers across the United States every year. Larry Bred is an expert on fetal alcohol syndrome, or FAS, and has studied its effects for 24 years. Thank you for joining us today, Larry.
Glad to be here.
How was FAS first discovered?
2 pediatricians at the University of Washington were following up on the children of some chronically alcoholic women. And what they discovered was that all these children looked the same. They had a common set of problems that included growth impairment, mental retardation, and abnormal facial features. And they coined this really clever term, fetal alcohol syndrome.
Okay, so it actually has a physical effect on the child then. You can see it, you can tell someone has it from just viewing them physically.
Yes, that's
Okay.
typically how it's diagnosed. You examine the child, they're short, skinny, small head, typical pattern of facial features, which allows you to make a diagnosis of fetal alcohol syndrome.
Okay, so how did you come to study FAS and its effects then?
Well, I was working with a lot of children who had a similar set of problems, and we were trying to figure out what the problem was. And I just happened on fetal alcohol syndrome coincidentally, but when I saw it, it explained the problems these kids have had, and I've been working on fetal alcohol syndrome since.
Okay, and have these cases been growing with children or among anyone?
Well, it's interesting that the rate of maternal alcohol use among women has been steadily increasing. And as that's happened, the number of cases of fetal alcohol syndrome has also been increasing. So we see a lot more now than we saw 20 years ago, for example.
Okay, and why is that? Why are they increasing?
Well, I think, there's more women entering the workforce. There's more women doing things that used to be things that mostly men did. And, 40, 50 years ago, men drank, women didn't. And now a lot more women are drinking. And I think we're struggling yet to get the message out to people that drinking during pregnancy is a dangerous thing to do.
Okay, now what do you do to evaluate these FAS cases?
Well, when they are referred to us, first thing we try to do is examine the child. Dr. Martzoff's a geneticist here at UND, and he's the person that does that. Then we try to collect information on the mother's drinking history during pregnancy. Most of the time we're looking for babies who were exposed to a lot of alcohol during pregnancy. Not just 4 or 5 drinks, in the first 2 months, but typically 8, 10, 15, 30 drinks a day is more common among women who have fetal alcohol syndrome.
Okay.
Children.
So what kind of screening systems have you set up then for this?
We have set up a system of screening that works for public schools, community health agencies. It's really used all across the United States now, which allows you to sort children into 2 groups, those children who are at high risk and very low risk. It took about 10 years to develop these tools, but they've been very popular all across the United States.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier that now that these cases are growing in publicity at least, and people are reporting them and noticing them, what can be done about these adults with FAS, since there are now adults being diagnosed with it as well?
Yes. That's a very serious problem. If your IQ is low enough, you can get into the developmental disability system for services. If you have a higher IQ, then you don't have a service system. And the outcome for these people is extremely poor. About 10% of them ever live independently, and only about 10% of them will ever be employed. A very large number of them end up in the criminal justice system. And this is, a preventable problem if we could just build a service system for these folks.
Okay, so what advice would you give pregnant women about FAS?
Don't drink prior to pregnancy, and absolutely don't drink during pregnancy. If you are drinking, it's never too late to stop or cut back.
Okay, and how do you think, have you felt that your efforts have been worthwhile over your research years?
Well, I think so. We have now been able to explain to women why many of the children they're struggling with have these problems. It's not an easy message for a mother, but I think that's been very helpful for people.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining us, Larry, and I wish you the best of luck on your future research.
Thank you.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be right back after this.
Are you a parent looking for childcare? Do you know what good childcare looks like? Do you provide childcare and have questions? Does childcare affect your business? Do you have employees who are concerned about childcare? Doesn't every child deserve quality childcare? Any questions? Call Child Care Resource and Referral.
Voller Insurance partners with you in protecting what matters most. For more than 50 years, Voller has built its reputation on its people, its clients, and a commitment to VIP service. Voller Insurance, Fargo, Bismarck, Grand Forks. Voller Insurance understands that the strength of its people is its greatest asset. People that tailor insurance protection that meets your needs. That's the key to VIP service. Voller Insurance, Fargo, Bismarck, Grand Forks.
It's Columbia Mall, the area's largest shopping center with more than 75 specialty shops and restaurants, plus Dayton's, Target, JCPenney's, and Sears. You'll find everything you need at Columbia Mall, from shoes to fashions, pianos to jewelry. Make Columbia Mall your ultimate shopping experience, and remember, Columbia Mall gift certificates make perfect gifts. Columbia Mall for food, fun, and more, serving the Red River Valley for more than 22 years.
It's never too early to get involved with Studio One.
Tune in next week on Studio One. We'll tell you about a woman who makes dolls seem lifelike. Plus, we'll give you the rundown on what is happening in entertainment and news. All that and more next week on Studio One.
Well, we're going to leave you now with some spooky pictures of ghosts and goblins. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.
And a happy Halloween.